On October 12, 2019, the bustling streets of New Orleans were shaken by a catastrophic event that would leave an indelible mark on the city's history. The Hard Rock Hotel, a much-anticipated addition to the vibrant downtown landscape, collapsed during construction, claiming lives, shattering families, and raising questions about the safety standards and oversight in the construction industry. This is the story of the Hard Rock Hotel collapse, a tale of tragedy, resilience, and the quest for answers in the face of unimaginable loss. The Hard Rock Hotel had been a symbol of promise for New Orleans, a city still recovering from the devastation of Hurricane Katrina. The 18-story, 350-room hotel was set to open in the spring of 2020, offering upscale accommodations, dining, and entertainment just steps away from the iconic French Quarter. The project, led by developer Mohan Kailas and his company, 1031 Canal Development LLC, was touted as a game-changer for the city's tourism industry and a catalyst for economic growth. However, on that fateful Saturday morning, the dreams of a glittering future came crashing down. At approximately 9:12 a.m., the upper floors of the Hard Rock Hotel collapsed, sending tons of concrete, metal, and debris raining down onto the streets below. Eyewitnesses described a scene of chaos and terror as workers scrambled to escape the crumbling structure, while passersby ran for cover amidst clouds of dust and the deafening sound of twisting metal. The collapse claimed the lives of 3 construction workers: Anthony Magret, 49, Quinion Wimberly, 36, and Jose Ponce Areola, 63. Magret's body was recovered shortly after the incident, but the remains of Wimberly and Ponce Areola would remain trapped in the rubble for months, compounding the agony of their families and fueling public outrage. An additional 18 people were injured, and the surrounding buildings, including the historic Sanger Theater, suffered significant damage. As the dust settled, questions began to emerge about the cause of the collapse and the safety measures in place at the construction site. Citadel Builders, the general contractor for the project, and its subcontractors faced intense scrutiny. Investigations by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, and other agencies revealed a series of troubling findings. OSHA cited Heaslip Engineering, the lead engineer on the project, for serious and willful safety violations related to the design and construction of the building's upper floors. The agency found that the structural steel connections were inadequate and that there were flaws in the design of the building's top 3 stories. Heaslip Engineering was fined $154,000 for these violations, though the company denied any wrongdoing. Eyewitness accounts and video footage from the construction site prior to the collapse painted a disturbing picture of the conditions workers faced. One worker, who spoke to local media on the condition of anonymity, described the project as rushed and noted that there were warning signs of instability, including bent temporary support posts known as pole shores and unsettling noises during the removal of these supports. Concrete testing documents obtained through public records requests revealed a discrepancy in the pace of construction between the lower and upper floors of the hotel. The first 8 floors were poured with an average of 35 days between each floor, while the top 8 floors were poured at a faster rate, with an average of just 21 days between floors. This accelerated timeline raised concerns about the integrity of the structure and the possibility of corners being cut to meet deadlines. In January 2020, a tarp covering the remains of one of the workers was dislodged by high winds, exposing the body to public view and sparking outrage. Photographs of the gruesome scene circulated on social media, adding to the anguish of the families and fueling demands for swifter action. The incident prompted protests and calls for accountability from city leaders who faced criticism for their handling of the crisis. Efforts to stabilize the damaged structure and retrieve the bodies were further complicated by the arrival of Hurricane Zeta in October 2020, which caused additional damage to the site and forced a temporary suspension of recovery operations. The prolonged ordeal took a heavy toll on the families of the deceased, who had to endure months of uncertainty and the pain of knowing that their loved ones remained trapped in the rubble. Finally, after 10 months of painstaking work, the remains of Quinion Wimberly were recovered on August 8, 2020, and the body of Jose Ponce Areola was retrieved on August 17, 2020. The news brought a measure of closure to the families, who had fought tirelessly for the dignified return of their loved ones. However, the road to healing and justice was far from over. In the aftermath of the collapse, a wave of lawsuits was filed against the developers, contractors, and other parties involved in the Hard Rock Hotel project. The families of the deceased, injured workers, and affected businesses sought compensation for their losses and held those responsible accountable for the tragedy. As of April 2021, more than 40 lawsuits had been consolidated into a single case, with plaintiffs seeking damages for wrongful death, negligence, and economic harm. The legal proceedings brought to light additional details about the troubled history of the project and the questionable practices of those involved. It was revealed that the developers had been granted zoning waivers by the City Council in 2011, allowing them to exceed the original height restrictions for the site. Critics argued that these concessions, coupled with inadequate oversight, had set the stage for the disastrous collapse. As the legal battle unfolded, the Hard Rock Hotel site remained a grim reminder of the tragedy that had unfolded there. The damaged building, with its twisted metal and crumbling concrete, stood as a monument to the lives lost and the failures that had led to the collapse. The process of demolishing the structure and clearing the site was a slow and delicate one, as engineers and workers navigated the complex task of bringing down the remaining floors while preserving evidence for the ongoing investigations. In April 2021, the New Orleans City Council voted unanimously to rescind the conditional use permit that had allowed the Hard Rock Hotel to rise to 190 feet, far above the original 70-foot height limit for the site. The move was seen as a step towards preventing similar tragedies in the future and ensuring that developers adhered to stricter safety standards and oversight. However, the decision was met with resistance from the lead developer, Mohan Kailas, who argued that revoking the permit would kill the project and deprive the city of much-needed economic benefits. Kailas, who had faced intense scrutiny and criticism in the wake of the collapse, maintained that his company was not to blame for the engineering and construction failures that had led to the tragedy. Despite the developers' objections, the City Council stood firm in its commitment to prioritizing public safety and accountability. The Hard Rock Hotel collapse had exposed deep flaws in the city's building regulations and permitting processes, and officials were determined to prevent a repeat of the disaster. As the legal proceedings continued and the demolition of the Hard Rock Hotel site progressed, the families of the victims and the wider New Orleans community grappled with the lasting impact of the tragedy. The collapse had not only claimed lives and caused immense physical damage, but had also shattered the trust between the public and those responsible for ensuring the safety of construction projects. The Hard Rock Hotel collapse served as a wake-up call for the construction industry and local governments across the nation. It highlighted the critical importance of robust safety regulations, rigorous oversight, and a culture of prioritizing worker well-being over profits and deadlines. The lessons learned from this tragedy have the potential to drive meaningful change and prevent similar disasters in the future. As New Orleans continues to heal from the wounds inflicted by the Hard Rock Hotel collapse, the memory of Anthony Magrette, Quinion Wimberly, and Jose Ponce Areola lives on. Their stories serve as a poignant reminder of the human cost of negligence and the urgent need for accountability in the construction industry. The Hard Rock Hotel collapse may have shaken the city to its core, but it has also galvanized a movement for change. As the legal battles wage on and the physical scars of the disaster slowly fade, the legacy of this tragedy will endure. It will be a catalyst for reform, a call to action for those in positions of power to prioritize the safety and well-being of workers above all else. And it will stand as a tribute to the lives lost, the families shattered, and the indomitable spirit of a city that refuses to be defined by its darkest moments. Thank you for watching this documentary. Your support is crucial in helping us continue to create impactful documentaries like this one. Please like, subscribe, and and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more stories like this one.